And we are back here on the Senior Network, and we're now joined with Jim Keith of Keith Streamer Home. Glad to have you, Jim.
Thank you very much. Good to be here, as always.
We've been having kind of an interesting and fun conversation about safety, and kind of wanted to bring you into the fold too. We've been talking about physical therapy during hospice care, and how one of the things that you said that was really interesting during the break was sometimes you get caught up, the caretakers get caught up in the medical piece of it, they forget about the safety piece. Share with us a little bit about your thoughts on that from a hospice point of view.
Mm-hmm. Safety itself, we can see it as common sense, but we often don't apply it to our own lives, our own routine, our own households. And so when we come in through hospice, we also want to make sure you may have new equipment in the house or need more help getting around, and so are there pathways that allow that to happen?
Oh, pathways, I never thought about that.
You know,
right?
And then also, typically many bathrooms, that's where we all have our little throw rugs, or in the kitchen, the laundry room. And so if a person is wanting to get around their house, we need to look at modifying everything a little bit, you know, get some grab bars in the shower, those sorts of things, so a person can still get in there.
What are the biggest dangers that you do see? Is bathroom a really dangerous place? Is it slipping? Is it falling? Is it?
Bathroom is a tremendous place. It's often clearing a step to get into that shower stall.
Okay.
How is a person positioning themselves to dry off? Are they trying to stand and still dry off because of what they've done for the past 30 years or pride? Or are they willing to look at their current abilities? And then family to have the strength to tell a parent what to do. That can be a challenging role.
One of the things that I worry about all the time is when I look at my parents or even my husband and myself is, you know, if I am caretaking for him and I don't know what I'm doing, what about injuries? Is that ever anything that we have to worry about too?
Definitely. We go in and work with a lot of families on a caregiver preventing their own back injury or their own, you know, people can get shoulder injuries, neck injuries just from straining to help someone else because of the physics of how they're positioned or lifting.
And the good news is, typically, a lot of times in a hospice situation, someone like a home care or a durable medical equipment company, they've already been in. So a lot of what she's mentioning is we've gone through that process.
So you've been proactive.
Yeah.
And I have to say that for you, from being proactive, at what point, we're talking about all the different services as we age, at what point do we need to come and take a visit to see what you have to offer?
Well,
it's part of the life cycle.
It is part of the life cycle. It is. Unfortunately, people don't address it as soon as they should. I think, you know, a good age is whenever you start seeing your parents just kind of falter a little bit. That may be a time just to broach the subject with them. I met a guy a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about wanting to make arrangements for him, and he was 80. And then in the course of the conversation, he goes, and I ought to be thinking about my mother too. She's 105.
Oh my gosh.
And now that's the opposite end of the cycle. That's really thinking that nothing is ever going to happen.
Do you advise and educate people as to what to expect, what kind of services are available? I mean, I think it's overwhelming, and I think because it's not something that we know, we feel a little intimidated.
Sure.
Is that a fair?
I do, but you know, most of the time they don't believe you. When you tell them that, you know, maybe your child is going to want to take your money, maybe you're not going to have the kind of health care that you think you're going to have. You know, those are things when you have a conversation and when you really sit down and start to talk to people about the end of life, a lot of times they're in denial. And until they actually see it happen to somebody in their family or to themselves, they really don't understand what can happen. And I know, like having Jay Mullinex in here and the hospice people.
Exactly.
Those are some great resources to use to start talking about it, protecting yourself. It's not just about money, it's about quality of life as you get older and making sure everybody's on the same page.
One of the things that you've taught me, okay,
I told her something.
Really? Do tell. No, but it's really the whole premise for this is that our Lowcountry community have resources that many places don't, and everyone is so collaborative.
Yeah, I travel a lot in this industry, and you would be surprised at the capacity of all that we have to offer here. It's amazing. It really is.
It seems like
I'm proud to be here. Yeah.
Well, it seems like everyone piggybacks on the other too. It's now we need to come talk to Jim. We need to come and talk to Sarah. We talk to, you know, it's really pretty impressive. Do you all work together pretty well?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Is one of the things, is education a big part of what you all three do?
Oh yes, definitely. I know from a standpoint of my business, we love it when somebody reaches out, like we're talking about the families early on, when they see a crisis situation maybe with another family member, and it kind of opens their eyes to, wait a minute, that may happen to me one day. And then those folks will reach out, and it gives us that opportunity to actually sit down and talk about and educate them on what the options are going to be down the road. If it's going to be they need to go ahead and start talking to Jim or hospice, or if it's just they just need some basic care to talk about.
When talking to you, what are questions to ask? What are some things that you like to be asked from a patient point of view or a client point of view?
Well, I like to address the conversation right from the very beginning about what type of service they're looking for, because
Okay.
sometimes it's the basic things they may not know. You know, they may say, oh, I want to be cremated or I want to be buried. Well, once you're cremated, what are we going to do with you? Where are you going to be buried? Who's going to be attending the service? You know, or taking care of the service. So those are some things that you have to ask, and you're right about everybody working together and all kind of being interlocking, and that really makes a difference. Makes things a lot easier.
Oh my gosh, it really does. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.